What's the best way to get people to read your script?
Well, those platforms have kind of changed over time. There used to be different ways to do that. I mean, probably for me, see, I've always written with an eye toward directing. So for me, a script is just a blueprint for a movie that hasn't been made yet. That's all. I've always seen it that way. Even though I've done writing gigs, that for other, for different producers, and the movie didn't get produced, but put everything into that. But I've always written a script just with an eye toward getting it produced, and so I don't know. Like, I think you need to. I don't know. See, nowadays it's so different. It's so different. I mean, there's still the Script Shark and all these different sites that people go. I don't trust those things. I don't trust those sites. I feel like they just take your money and then who knows what happens with it. I think I'm the type of person who I entered screenplay competitions early on. That's something I could say. I think it's good to enter screenplay competitions. I do believe that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just don't go bankrupt doing it. Don't spend your last dime on it. But I don't know. I'm just the type of person who I never really entered a lot of things like that. I'm just telling you. I'm sure this doesn't make great interview material. It's a lot of stopping and starting. I'm just being honest. I mean, like, I entered some screenplay competitions and I placed in some of them too, but those things didn't get produced. And then the first screenwriting job I ever got, actually, it was while I was on Kiss the Girls. I was walking around the set with horror t-shirts on, The Exorcist, Evil Dead, and the craft service guy said, "You a big horror fan?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a horror fan." And I made some shorts, and he said, "How about you rewrite a script for me? I'll pay you to rewrite a script." And this is the guy who's literally picking up trash. Like, he's got the like the pointer, picking up trash.
Awesome.
And he's like, "I got a horror script that needs a rewrite." And I remember he said to me, we were negotiating. And he said, "Well, I heard that Tarantino got $500 to rewrite From Dusk Till Dawn," because that's what happened with that. That started as a script by some effects artists who wanted to make a movie, and Tarantino got involved, and that's how the whole thing started. And I don't know if that's how much he got paid, but anyway, that's what this guy said. And he said, $500? He said, "How about if I give you what Tarantino got to do that?" And I said, "Okay, sure. Of course I'll take that. I'm thrilled. I'm 22 years old, and I'm 21 years old. I'm working on a movie, and I'm going to do a script rewrite on the side." So probably the reason I bring that up is you need to be around film people. You need to be around people who want to make movies. Everybody's got a movie they want to make. Like, I remember another job I got, this is before I got anything produced, another screenwriting job I got was something it was a script I optioned. That's what it was. It was some brothers, it was like two twin brothers, and they were friends of some effects artists whose shop I was working in at the time. Just, I was doing effects work. And they they were looking for scripts that they could act in. Just horror scripts, whatever. And so I had this script. I told my friend I wrote a script, and he said, "Oh, I'll show it to these guys." And he showed it to them, and they optioned it from me. And I remember they used to finish each other's sentences on the phone. It was like the Coen brothers, So those were my first two paid script things, and it just came from being around film people, I think people who just sit at home and they are in front of the computer, they're not going to get anywhere with that. You can submit to Script Shark. Yeah, you'll spend money. You won't make money. You'll spend money. And it's not all about making money either. Because somebody wants to make your movie and it's gonna get off the ground. That's great. And if your first credit, you made it. You know what I mean? But in terms of those are some of my early experiences. I don't know. I mean,
those are cool stories. That was in the 90s, though, right? So
it was in the 90s.
There was dial-up, maybe. But
see, all that stuff didn't exist, and I don't know, maybe that was just as well. Because these were fun. I'm just telling you, I had fun doing these things, with the guy with the craft services. I mean, I ended up going I remember with him over to Neo Art and Logic, which was Neo. They were making movies with Miramax. They're making horror movies with Miramax. So I was sitting in their offices. Did that lead anywhere? No, but that was cool to be sitting there, and he was honest, and he paid me what he said he was going to pay me. And the movie didn't get made, but so what? It was just a nice gig, and I did the best I could with it, and the thing with the brothers didn't get made either. But the first thing that I wrote that got produced was something I directed. It was a package deal. I pitched Scream Queen to the producer, who I was working as a PA. I was working as a PA on this movie, and the producer was doing smaller films, even smaller than the one we were making. And he said, hey, do you have some ideas for some stuff? And I pitched him a few, and Scream Queen was one, and he said, that sounds good. Let's do that. So, but that was a writing, directing package. So once again, I was on a set in the desert. We're in the Mojave Desert, sitting in the guy's car, talking at lunch, and that was how the deal was made.
Wow.
So they're all these things are all bound up in being out there and doing stuff. They're not about being at home and emailing and texting and stuff. But like you said, it was the 90s, different time. And I know that there's these sites out there and stuff that people, I know people probably have gotten stuff from that too. I'm not saying they don't, but that's just not my background. You look on Mandy, to get a bit more updated or whatever, if you go on Mandy and these sites, people are looking for scripts. People are looking for writers, and I've gotten jobs that way too. I've gotten jobs completely out of the clear blue from a guy looking for a guy to do rewrites on his horror script, and I've gotten jobs like that too. So
it's a cool story.
Yeah.
I like that story.
That's one that I wasn't out in the desert for. It was just at home in front of my computer.
Right. That's just awesome. The guy's just picking this stuff up, and
yeah, he was literally picking up trash, and I had these T-shirts on, and Carrie Elwes was on that film too, and he was like, "Oh man, awesome shirt!" Like he loved my Exorcist shirt because I had Linda Blair throwing up on the shirt. I had like different horror T-shirts. All I wore was black T-shirts back then. Had Evil Dead, Reanimator, and Exorcist. So I just wear those every day, and I guess I became like known as the horror guy or something. And I was playing my short film. I was really obnoxious. They had a TV in the craft services trailer, and I would play my short film in there any chance I got. So people were, trying to get like some, an Almond Joy, and they had to like watch part of the movie while they're in there.
Did they let you play it at the place where they had the Kern's Nectars?
No.
Oh, okay.
They had no interest in my short film over there.
I was just curious.
No, I got plenty of Kerns, and
right.
whatever, granola bars, but
you weren't allowed to play your short in the.
I don't think so. They didn't have anywhere to play it. They didn't have anywhere to play it. It was just an office, And
right.
I remember pulling open a drawer. They asked me to file some coverage, and I pulled open a drawer and I saw the coverage for 7. Pass.
Oh, wow.
Not interested. This will not do well. Pass. And that's that's good to see things like that too, because you see that one person's pass is another person's huge success. If they take the chance on the project, you never know. I mean, no one knew 7 would do as well as it did. I mean, when that movie came out, it was so under the radar, So it was interesting to see these things. Like I remember seeing Scary Movie before it was Scream, and they probably passed on that one too. They were passing on a lot of stuff.
Who was reading all this?
Well, there were executives, but they had. I don't think they were farming it out to readers. They were just using the interns as readers. Like the big agencies have they used to have before they downsized. They used to have readers, so that was their job, just to read scripts. But not really anymore.
Did they let you do that? Did you do coverage?
They did. I took scripts home with me and read them. Yeah. Yeah, I would. They would call it the weekend read. I remember we'd meet like on a Thursday or Friday or whatever, and they'd give you scripts, and then you'd come in on like a Monday, probably it was Monday or Tuesday, and we would all sit down. It wasn't a lot of people. It was like 5 people. We'd sit down, me and maybe 2 other interns, and we just, okay, what'd you guys read? What did you think? They wanted to know what we thought, which was pretty cool, So I was reading all different types of movies too, dramas, period pieces, sci-fi stuff. They were reading they had a lot of scripts coming in,
Were these younger people they were having? Because did they want to know the pulse of like the younger
I don't know if they did. I mean, if they did, they didn't let on to that. But there was me. Yeah, all the interns were the same age. We're all in like our early 20s. So but the executives weren't like. I mean, they probably were maybe 10 years older than us or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, I just, we just did that, and that was kind of like business as usual over there. So.
But did you realize you were part of this big machine, or
that felt like a big machine? I mean, Paramount and Scott Free both felt like big machines to me. They both felt like there's this machine moving forward, and there isn't any particular person driving it. It's just going, and that's really how big studio movies are more than ever, I would say. And development and a lot of this stuff, it's very hard. They almost thrive on a lack of like one person being in charge or one person taking the blame, or they specifically created that kind of infrastructure so nobody gets really, nobody has to take the fall for something that doesn't work. But I just prefer, I think from early on, I prefer this sort of lower budget film sets where the director is really directing, and if the director doesn't show up, nothing happens. And, it's just more of a creative environment where people can contribute more, and everybody gets to contribute more. Actors, everybody, So, and I'm not saying these films were like cakewalks, because there were ups and downs on all these movies, but that I saw happen. Sometimes I was shocked, to see people get overruled, see directors get overruled, things like that. You think directors are gods when you're growing up reading film magazines. You think that nobody tells a director. That's the last word. It's almost like the old Hollywood idea of that, which I don't know if even that was really true, but at least that's the myth, So to see that, it was eye-opening.
To be on set and see someone's like power usurped, sort of?
Yeah, to see, like on Spoiler, there were scenes that were literally, there was an actor that had makeup on that he wanted to do and the director wanted to do, and one of the producers found it offensive. She was like a devout Christian and she was offended by the makeup, and she made them reshoot that scene. There were other times where one of the producers who was out of town doing probably a film market or something, because he was more like he had directed stuff in the past, but he was really more of a money guy. He came down toward the end and decided he wanted to direct the movie. So there were parts of that movie where the director was sort of literally sidelined, and that other guy was calling action. And this type of stuff happens all the time. But for me, seeing that, it was eye-opening, yeah, for sure.